Hey guys, my name is Jonathan Ball. I am a licensed attorney who decided to go to medical school, and I was having a conversation with some friends of mine that created an emotional reaction where I thought, you know what, that would make a good YouTube video because I think it matters what I'm feeling, and I think I'm not the only person who has felt this. Specifically that I think that you should be starting medical school or considering starting medical school either later in your life, mid to late 20s, or if you are older, considering starting medical school as you are older, because I think that is an important time in your life to where you're young enough that you can still make this massive commitment, but you also have so much to offer. And I think the entire healthcare industry needs this significant investment and significant change. American medicine is specifically, so I don't care about other kinds of medicine, but I'm sure it's applicable. But American medicine specifically is at a pivotal time where physicians are grappling and challenging themselves with a new reality, especially in things like emergency medicine and rural medicine in general. But there's an archaic educational system that you have to go through, paired with a practice landscape that is riddled with obstacles, leading some to question if this is even like the right decision. It's an awful thing to see people who put in 7 to 10 years of their life saying, have I made the right call? The physician shortage is worsening, and it's worsening in a specific way where it's not all things that are worsening. It's primary care, it's rural emergency medicine. There's a huge crippling issue where the match for emergency medicine isn't even filling up anymore, but there's a ton of people getting the good jobs and no one wants the really bad jobs in rural areas. I'm from Eastern Kentucky and no one wants to work there, especially in primary care or emergency medicine, or things like OBGYN even. So even though the physician shortage is growing in certain areas, the burden on doctors, I think, is also growing, especially in those areas. There are increases in administrative demands. There's staggering student loans. Physician burnout is something that people have shunned, and it's now causing a problem. The median age for EM doctors leaving their field is 55 for men and 45 for women. This is why some people who are mentors of me have called medicine the job with golden handcuffs, because they make a ton of money but they can't leave. And in a lot of private online forums that I follow, like Student Doctor Network or even Reddit, doctors are sharing exit strategies, with some even leaving their field in a few years, or saying, hey guys, I'm going to come back when I've figured it out, when I've decided the right way to make a living outside of medicine, or just doing it as little as possible and getting outside of clinical medicine specifically. This comes at a time when medicine is, or medical care demand is surging. We need more of these people, yet almost every doctor I know is saying, yeah, I can't wait to work less. But I think there is hope, and there's a path for those who are aspiring to join this noble ranks like I am. That the path begins not really at the university level, but in the diverse experiences of everyone else around you. I think there's this is an odd thing to bring up, but George Washington talks about how you should be a statesman and a politician at the same time. You should, and a citizen at the same time, that you should be invested in your community. You should be doing things that are normal, and if you're a politician, you shouldn't be a full-time politician. You should be both of those things, a citizen and a statesman. And I think the same is true for those entering into the medical world, where people are either 100% a doctor, this is my identity, completely who I am, and they have nothing else outside of this that identifies them, that defines them. They have nothing to offer. And imagine starting medical school at 22. Of course, you've been studying biology. You in high school, you were shadowing doctors. You were telling everyone, yes, I can't wait to be a doctor, or whatever thing in medicine. It doesn't have to be a medical doctor or a DO. It could have been a dentist, could have been a vet. But imagine for a second waiting 5, 6, 7, 10 years and starting medical school at 28, 29, and after years spent starting a career or starting a family or a life, you now have built up a foundation of financial planning for personal and mental, emotional, spiritual growth. And you've allowed to go on creative ventures. You've seen parts of the world you want to. Just doing a gap year could give you immense amounts of reality to draw from. And for some people in their 20s, this is a time of tremendous creativity. Musicians, writers, artists, they all have a place in medicine, but they push those things to the side and say, no, I'm just a doctor now. But they need time to explore their gifts before diving into the rigors of medical training, because those are things that are going to dominate them for 4 years or 7 years or more. But they don't have to allow those things to define them. And even during their medical training, which I plan to do, they will have time to explore these other things because they've built the foundation. Think about some of the people that I know from, and you wouldn't know these people, so don't think about them, but some of the people I know from school where I was the oldest, and everyone in my pre-med program, because I was a lawyer and am a lawyer and was going to pre-med classes, where everyone treated me like I was some sort of international celebrity. Like the whole campus knew I was going to be a doctor, and I was already a lawyer, and I had a nice car, and you know, they looked at me like I had infinite knowledge on things. But we were all starting at the same point in our training here, and we were all going to probably, with the same time investment, probably a little shorter for me because I only needed the prerequisites, but I didn't actually know that much more. I was 6, 7, 8 years older than most of them, but it could have been a lifetime if you ask them. I didn't start a family. I didn't do a lot of things, but I did have my finances down. I did have a professional degree. I did have a professional doctorate. I had a career of experience, years of practicing law now, and during this time, I started to understand what kind of journey I wanted to live in the rest of my life and how medicine fit into that journey, not how I fit into medicine. Specifically, my family also had time to support me and understand who I was and trust that I was making a mature decision, that I was making a decision what was best for me and what was best for everyone around me and my future family as well. Residency, I think, is probably tougher in ways and easier in others. There are harsh consequences in residency for taking time off. I know this because I have represented many physicians and residents. But starting later could mean healthier, younger experiences still, because you are allowing yourself to have the mental breaks that you need and understand how you take care of your own soul. You're just going to bang your head against the wall as a young pre-med and then going straight into medical school and then going straight into residency. You've never really learned how to take care of yourself. But starting later still doesn't mean that you lose the option to have grandparents help. In fact, it could mean that you get more help from them because there's a greater time of them not helping you, where then they can help you support your children and things like that. There are tax benefits that you can actually start to learn. You can get an accountant. You might not have thought to get an accountant, but paying the right type of people to help you function is something that older people do that you're not thinking about when you're 22. An older and more diverse medical class as a whole is going to spread, so you're all going to learn from each other, because everyone in my pre-med classes learned from me, and we were all learning the material at the same time, but I was teaching people how to iron their clothes. If that doesn't tell you the immaturity of the entering class, I don't know what is going to tell you that, but that's not a problem, just no one taught them. But as a medical student is going through securing a residency spot, and they're going to be focused on all the things they have achieved through medical school, through their pre-med classes. However, what's plaguing those students is not going to plague the student that has some experience behind them. Residencies are going to want someone who's more diverse, has life experience, that can handle the rigors of a difficult residency by proving themselves in a previous profession, coming back to school, going through medical school, and showing that they have experiences that, like what benefits the medical class they are a part of, will also benefit the residency class that they are a part of. So I think it is time to rethink That's a terrible sentence. I believe it is time to rethink medicine. It is about building a life that can weather storms in an ever-changing field. It's about ensuring that medicine is a choice and a passion and not a last resort. But let's raise an axe to the grind. Don't put your head to the grindstone. Let's get rid of the grindstone. Grant future physicians the freedom of fulfilling careers on their own terms. I think you should allow yourself to be a voice for change and be confident and strong that people are going to listen to you. People bully residents. They make them do things. They bully med students. They make them do things that they don't feel comfortable with, or they wouldn't do normally because they're younger. If you had people who were older, more sure of themselves, they'd have the capacity to stand up to oppressive administrative decisions or attendings that aren't treating you well. You would know when you're being scheduled poorly or unfairly or even in an illegal way. There are laws for employment that some recent Supreme Court decisions actually show that medical residents are actually being treated unfairly, and things like that need to change, especially in terms of religious recommendations, that those things do need to be respected. But no, most people just say, well, I have to do it. This is what's required of me. It's for the greater good. But you actually are a part of the greater good and you matter. And even if you are younger and you decide, hey, I don't really want to take time off, diversify yourself, make yourself more mature by giving yourself more experiences. Age doesn't necessarily give you an edge. It just means you've had more time to do things, and you can make up the difference by being active, be involved in a diverse field of things. Join a book club. I don't know, just do things that you're uncomfortable with. Learn more about things that you don't know a lot about. Read a political book. Take a theology class. Do something in the liberal arts if you're a STEM major. This is why I'm saying these things, because humanities is often forgotten, yet it is deeply important to understand why you're doing what you're doing, not just to understand how to do it. But those are just my rants for the day. I didn't really have a theme here other than just we need more mature people in the field to protect each other and give to each other. And I think if you are allowing yourself to be forgiven, to take time off, or to come back, that is a good thing. We need older people in our young physicians, but we just need more mature people and more confident in each other to protect the people who are vulnerable, which is actually us, the med students and residents. It's not just the patient populations who are also vulnerable. But subscribe for more thoughts on things like this. I also just try and do general thoughts on the process of going to school and medical school and even law school. And I also am planning to do more thoughts on legal and public policy issues and medical policy things, and also just stuff like this where I just have an emotion and I decide to share it. So those are my thoughts for today. But again, thanks for watching, and I hopefully will see y'all later.